everybody! As you probably know, it's the TheRedMageKro. And welcome back to the post-commentary of Rimworld. I'm getting my little sticky note up right now. And we're going to relatively go into my line of work. Because, let's be honest, when it comes down to YouTube, I don't have a job career in that field. So I do have I have work where, it's not just this. Oh, there he is! There's the boy! Oh, and yeah! Alright, so. I'm not gonna tell you where I work, or, that type of jazz. But I'm gonna tell you about my work, in which I work in retail. And retail is probably one of the most annoying jobs to relatively work in if you don't like people. And honestly speaking, I don't... There are just some people who aren't cut out for retail. And there are a couple of people in this world who don't know how to shop. So we'll leave it at that, really. So, with that also being said, not a lot of people understand how retail relatively... how it feels to work in retail. And then we're installing a little conditioner so that we can make that into our little freezer area. Because, a lot... There are people, and they want a lot, they want a lot of things. But they don't know exactly, how... By the way, putting chairs in front of workstations actually raises comfort level. So it's a good thing to have that. So with that being said, people get angry and whatnot. And, not a lot of people relatively think about how retail really actually works and whatnot. So my job is... retail, yes, but my title is a consultative, communicative salesman. Basically, I have to talk with people in order to find out exactly what it is that they need. And we're going to basically get rid of all the smoothing here. Namely because we're going to be moving graphic and send you into this area right here. And making that area smoother is going to be better for them. So, yeah. So I make sure I find out what they need, not what they want. Because if they get what they want, most of the time it's not what they need and they end up returning it. So my job is to make, it less desirable to return their item. And that's what I pretty much do every single day. Except nowadays they have me on the cash register basically ringing people up because... things happen. I'm losing my job, guys. So Umbreon's gonna continue hunting and whatnot, trying to secure more food. He just killed that rat, that poor thing. So, we'll go with we'll talk about some of the Mary Sues, the Karens, and the jerks that I've met along my years. And we're gonna start off with the guy who thought I was belittling him, as he put it. So, this happened relatively around this same time, around the time of now, around Christmas. And basically, from what I remember, he was looking to get a shelving unit. Like this shelf thing that basically had these metal grates. And it was very nice looking too, as I remember. But other than that, basically, I think that this is the point where I'm talking about building a wall here, because it is the smallest area and whatnot, and, it's probably the cheapest it will ever be in order to actually make a wall here. So, as I was saying, so this guy is looking to buy it, and he asks me to check to see whether or not we have it in stock. In which, and if you're going to ask somebody to have it in stock and you're going to relatively take it, and you're not sure whether or not you have the car space, make sure to ask the associate to measure it for you, because, you know, if you want to go off of, you know, all this different type of like jazz, oh, they're making they were, yeah, ooh no. Anyways, so yeah, if you're going to go off of like what they basically, if you're going off of like actual like inches and whatnot, and you know the actual size of your car, then you know they're gonna need a measuring tape. If you want me just to see, if you want the associate to like go back there and see if you have it in stock, then yeah, they're gonna say they have it in stock. But then if you ask them, you know, hey, you know, do you know how big it is? Oh, so yeah, after I did that, he asked me, hey, how big is it? But the only thing I can tell him, as we're hunting, I think, piggies or a rat or something, I don't know what that was. So I told him, you know, using my arm as well as my height, because that's all I relatively had at that time. And he gets angry, and, you know, that's the end of that encounter from that moment. But then, you know, I'm at the cash register because it's Christmas time. Everything's busy. I'm the one who gets him again. And I'm just like, oh my god, he was angry at me. He seems okay now. And I'm ringing him up. And we're not necessarily talking, but like, you know, I'm just doing my thing. Because, you know, if you're new, you relatively get like a little thing going down until you get more comfortable, and then stuff happens. This is like an area where I kind of want to grow heal root, but we don't have anyone who actually has the appropriate growing in order to actually grow heal root. And so he just tries to grow potatoes, and it was like, oh. And so, basically, at some point, during the transaction, he was like, hey, I want to see a manager. And I'm just like, okay, you're clearly upset with me. So I get him the manager. I call her up, and I was like, hey, so-and-so wants, you know, this guy basically wants to speak with you. And so, you know, he's obviously upset with me. And so I ask him, okay, well, did you want me to continue ringing you up, or did you want the manager to ring you up? No, because I sense the hostility towards this guy. And then he tells me, well, I didn't ask you to stop. He didn't say ask, he said tell. And I can remember this just because of, you know, how, like, aggressive this guy was. It was like, he was being aggressive for what I felt was no really big reason, although he felt like it was a really big reason. 12 of our turkey meat basically rotted away in storage. So, I didn't mean to offend him. I didn't mean to belittle him. If I did, you know, one, I didn't mean to. So, you know, manager comes out, and he just basically tells her, hey, this guy right here, he's belittling me, he's making me feel this and that, he's being a jerk, and I'm standing over there, and I'm just like, wow, this guy. And of course, she diffused the situation. I didn't know her for too long, but she knew me enough to know that I wouldn't do that. And, you know, that to me, like, that's basically what, to me, kind of like began me liking her a little bit more, because it was at that time that I didn't really like her. I felt like she was a little bit too easygoing, but you know, that was just me, and if anything, she was all right in my book in the end. And you know, with that being said, you know, one, if that member was, you know, one, I don't know why he was being, you know, the way he was. I don't know why he thought I was belittling him. I'm pretty sure I gave it a lot of thought, but honestly, I just can't think of any reason why. And, you know, that goes on to show, you know, one, my inexperience, and then two, you know, Maybe he was just being a jerk, or maybe he had like a bad day or something. You know, with these types of situations, you just never know. So, you know, I'm not going to hold him at fault. I'm not going to hold myself at fault or anything of that sort. Now, and then like there are people who apparently just like it's that time of the year again, because this basically happened relatively recently. It was this month where there was this lady who picked a fight with some guy upstairs. And I don't know the whole reasonings, I just know the stories that they tell me. And basically, it had something to do with both of them being in line, but one of them wasn't in line correctly. Now, I don't know what that relatively means, but hey, it happened. That's what I was told. Why did you not go through that hole? I saw that. You went through the doors. Like, say there's like that little hole in the wall. I'm probably talking about it right now. I don't know. Anyways. So, from what I heard, there was like some slurs and a butt ton of foul language, and even the people downstairs where I work basically heard it. And they were telling me a little bit about it too, that they didn't understand what was going on. All they know is that they heard it, and it was like, wow, I had to take my lunch at this time. I kind of would have liked to hear it. Oh my goodness gracious. But, you know, things happen. I don't know, 100% what happened. Maybe there was more miscommunication. I don't know! But things happen. And sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's like, it's just like, what was going on? But yeah, that's the only two stories I'm relatively going to tell you. Of course, I got more. There are some that I don't wish to talk about. There are some that I do wish to talk about. Some of them bring up bad memories. Some of them bring up, I can laugh about them and whatnot. Some of the times I don't want to talk about them because I don't want to relive the situation. But these two were kind of funny in a way. So now, how about we talk about animals? Like, what are your guys'... You know what? No, we won't talk about that. Let's do question of the day. And then maybe we'll talk about some of my animals that I have. But question of the day. What exotic animal would you like to have as a pet? So that can be anywhere from, like, a serval, a lion, panther, a duck. I'm gonna go with a duck. I don't know. Can you have ducks as pets? Is that something you guys can have? I don't know. But we're trying to get power in so that we can get our food, refrigerated while we work on the solar panels. So, like, for instance, like, me. I would freaking love an otter. I think they're otters, but, like, they're adorable, and they make the cutest noise. And the reason I know this is because in Japan, you can have them as pets. And they're like, they're adorable. I love them. They're just like, when they're eating, it's, oh my god, if you guys have not seen an otter freaking eat, they are adorable, and I would recommend you guys actually to go watch it. And you guys might be like, oh, well, bro, why not a penguin? And penguins would be nice. But, one, I live in an area that's really hot most of the time. And sure, while there are some penguins who kind of live on beaches and whatnot, but I just feel like a pool would, just like the pool that I have, would just not be healthy for them. With an otter, a pool would probably be enough. They can, swim around and whatnot. But a penguin, I don't think that would be enough for them. I don't think. Who knows, maybe that pool wouldn't be enough for an otter as well. But, you know, that's besides the point. I also wouldn't mind having a crow. A crow would be adorable. I would love to have a crow. I don't like bird feet, though. That's, like, the only thing that gets me. Like, bird feet just kind of scare me a little. But, you know, besides that, maybe a raven. Because, you know, they're intelligent, and, you know, it might be good to talk to them from time to time. So now let's go ahead and maybe talk about some of the animals that we've had. You know, we've had a couple of animals along the days of my life. We've had a frick ton of dogs. We had some rabbits. We had a pig at one point. And yeah, no, it just... There are a lot of animals in my life that I'm grateful to having, and there are some animals that, honestly, like, I've never relatively got along with. And like, nowadays, we just have a frick ton of cats. Like, seriously. Like, I don't know if I've ever talked about them on the channel before, but they're all my sisters, and I don't own any pets, by the way. Like, pets to me, like, I love them, but I don't have the time to have a pet. And I know this, but, you know, my older sister, she has a dog and a cat, and she lets the kids take care of them, but let's be honest, like, they're kids, and they need directions. So, yeah, that's a thing. But my younger sister, she always finds time to take care of her animals, and she's lovely. There was, like, the time that we were kind of, like, considered the Weasley household. And because of that, basically what I mean by that is that all of our cats are orange. All of our cats that we had were orange. So, like, we had, like, basically, like, 4 main cats, right? We had Rollo Gallo, Brunswick Tchaikovsky, Dryer, and then we had Abraham DeLacy, Joseph DeCasey, Thomas O'Malley. And you might be, like, wondering, what's up with their names. And the reason behind that is that all cats have to have a name of 4 or more syllables. I think it's, like, a really old tradition that basically, that is why that is. Meanwhile, we're getting some lights installed. I need to, like, put a little bit more of the wiring down. I haven't actually been paying much attention to Rimworld. I was too busy talking, so I might have missed a couple of things. Anyways. Unfortunately, most of those cats aren't with us now. I don't know what happened to Rollo or Brunswick. Bless their hearts, wherever they may be. Abraham, however, it was really sad with him because, at the end of his days, it just seemed like somebody probably tortured him, and he was the nicest cat too, and it's really sad knowing that he's gone. He was so fluffy, he was fat, and he was strong. Like, jeez, this cat got into a lot of fights. He was an outside cat, by the way. And then there's Dryer. Dryer's still around to this day, just because my sister's a lot more protective of him. He was the runt of the litter and whatnot. So she's always been pretty protective, you know, when it comes down to him. But ever since, like, Abraham, and what happened to him, she's been much more protective of him. And, you know, he's still around and whatnot. And then we also have her boyfriend's cat that he brought down from the mountains, who is an outside cat. Her name is Ravage, which, you know, he named her, not my sister. Ravage. Yeah, she only has 2 syllables. If it was my sister, they would have 4 syllables, trust me. But they named Ravage, or he named Ravage after Soundwave's Ravage, if you guys know Transformers and G1 and all that different type of jazz. So, yeah. We do have a lot of animals. We are kind of animal people, and whatnot. But, you know, it's also, you take the good and the bad, because eventually the animals have to go. Even if it's not, you know, a very good time for them to go. Which is probably why I don't own an animal. I feel like if I were to own an animal, I'd get really attached to it. Probably too attached to it. And then when they go, I'd probably be devastated. So yeah. So at this point, I'm making like a little alcove. Because at this point, I noticed that the freezer area is kind of like not freezing the way it should. And you know, that's namely due to the fact that like air is getting released and whatnot. So with that also being said, we are kind of getting closer to the end of the video. So I have one more question. It's very short, very simple. Do you guys want to see Dragon Ball Fighters back on the channel? I'm pretty sure I had a couple of videos up. I know I have a couple of videos up. I can still remember their thumbnails. Like, did you want me to bring that back? I enjoyed it, but like there just wasn't enough like people that relatively like kept me interested in that game. And with the new Broly, I kind of want to get back into it. Same thing with Power Rangers, Battle for the Grid. Daichi freaking dropped in November, but I've been so busy that I completely forgot. So, with that being said, if you guys want to see those games come back, let me know. I'm probably going to play a little bit of Power Rangers Battle for the Grid soon. But other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you like the recording and the topics that we talked about today. And I'll see you all in the next recording. See ya!